Hello, everybody. Jason with Learn to Survive. You guys are doing well, staying safe, take care of yourself, but more importantly, taking care of one another. This video is a little bit different. I'm not giving you any prepping or survival tips or hacks, nor am I doing any gear or product review. You as a friend, and to tell you my story that happened to me, and after this happened, I seen as a major hole in my preps and preps of everybody else that needs to be shrunken down, or if at all possible, totally closed. Now, what I did is for informational purposes only. It may not be the right choice for you, but the video that I'm doing here is designed just to get you to think and think about if you were in that situation and you had an outcome like I did, how would you be affected? What could you do to minimize that risk and minimize any dangers to yourself and your family in cases like this? So let's get on with the story. In 1997, I had been divorced 2 years. Married very young. Married at 17. My wife was a little bit younger than me by a year. She was 16. And by the time I was 21, I was divorced. Now, our daughter was born 2 weeks after my 21st birthday. A few months after that, the divorce uh, got filed and everything. And my ex was doing all right, but then ended up losing her job, and she was staying with friends and family in Illinois, riding couches, and working and stuff like that, and saving up money to get her own place again and get on her feet. And she did that. And in December of 1997, she wanted to see our daughter for Christmas. So we had an agreement that I would bring her out there after work on 19th of December. She could have her up until the afternoon of Christmas Eve day. Then I would pick her up and bring her home, and we'd do Christmas on my side of the family. So I took her to Illinois. I'm cutting a lot out of this story. I'm just trying to give you the keys here so you have an understanding of it, or I'm going to have a 30-minute video. Take her to Illinois. It's a 2.5 hour trip there, 2.5 hour trip back, so that's 5 hours on the road. And I'm going to do this twice. So I drop her off. I'm heading home. I'm running 57 North, and I'm just right outside of Champaign, Illinois, in between Champaign and Urbana. It is about 11:30 at night. December 19th. It is cold. It's like 4 degrees below. The wind's blowing a bit, and it's snowing, and there's somebody walking on the side of the 57 and hitchhiking. So I don't know if I felt bad because I've been in that situation before, or if I just had the Christmas spirit, or I was just generally feeling kind that day. I stopped and picked the guy up. A little bit of idle chit chat, stuff like it's cold outside, blah blah blah, and just a little bit of talking, nothing major. And he's telling me he's going up to Chicago to see family, or whatever. Yeah, he was a very polite young man, and I thought nothing of it. There was nothing giving me a bad feeling about him, or putting me on high alert or something or anything like that. And it was nice. I said, look, I can get you up to Gilman to the truck stop, because once I hit Gilman, I'm heading east on 24 back into Indiana, but that's a little bit closer to Chicago, and there's a truck stop. You can get warm and maybe make a phone call, have somebody come and get you, whatever. And he said, thanks, man, that'd be great. So we proceed up, what is it, about 25, 30 miles from where we were to Gilman, and I'm there at that little exchange between 57 and 24. I'm just like right in that area, getting real close to the truck stop. I mean, you can see the sign and everything, about 200 yards up in the distance, wasn't very far. And he pulls out a knife. And a struggle ensued. I'm struggling with this guy. I'm slamming on the brakes. I'm throwing the car in park. I got jab, cut, whatever, pretty well. But at that point, I managed to grab my 6D cell battery mag light from in between the split bench seat and take a swing the best I could at the guy, hitting him right here in the collarbone, breaking his collarbone. At that point, when he jumped back, I lunged out of the car. I said, you know what? Fuck it. He can have the car, whatever. I can make a phone call from the truck stop. I got friends or whatever. I'll come and get me. I can file a police report and just be done with it. It's no need to take this any further. Well, he gets out of the car and he's coming at me with a knife again. Now, a 6D cell mag light, they're pretty long. When he got in range of that, I just drew back and I swung, cracking him like right here in the head, and he goes down like a bag. So now I'm left with the decision: do I stay here and call the police, or do I drive the 200 yards up to the truck stop where it'd probably be safer, but then I'm leaving the guy on the side of the interstate? So I get in the car, I lock all the doors, grab my cell phone, I call the police. I said, look, I need an ambulance and I need the police. I've been stabbed. There's another guy hurt, This is where I'm at. They come out. EMTs check me out. EMTs are checking the guy out. Okay, you're going to need a few stitches. Never thought about it. Please take my statement. I go to the hospital, get stitched up. Police are like, okay, you gave a statement. We've got our report figured out and everything. Come and sign your statement. So I go to the police station. I sign my statement. They took me back to my car and said, hey, you know what? Have a great night. Have a safe trip the rest of the way home. Let me go. Nothing happened. Get home. I'm home for a few days talking to a friend of mine in law enforcement. I told him what's going down. And he goes, bud, you may have screwed the pooch on this one. Made a few phone calls, and he's like, okay, this is probably not going to turn out good for you. At the time, the prosecutor of Iroquois County, Illinois, was a person who was very anti-self-defense. He thought, no matter what the situation is, you should let the police handle it. You have no business defending yourself. So my friend advises me to call a lawyer and tell him the story, what happened, what I said, let him get whatever he needs done. So I made contact with the lawyer, told him what happened. Lawyer goes, yeah, $5,000, I'll take it. And, we'll try and get stuff thrown out that it can't be used as evidence to the judge to authorize an arrest warrant, whatever. So I pay him the $5,000. I thought, okay, this will hopefully get it taken care of. About a week and a half goes by, and he calls and says, I don't really think you're going to be charged. So, I'm starting to calm down a little bit, not having anxiety over it, wondering what's happened. Month goes by, and the lawyer calls me back and says, look, they called you, they're charging you, but they're not charging you with what you think. He goes, they knew they didn't have a case, so the prosecutor scrubbed through laws and found some weird and obscure law about unusual weapons and impact weapons and extension of the arms and a couple other weird things they threw on just to try and make a case. It was basically, these are his charges. We'll throw it against the wall and we'll see what sticks and what we can get a conviction on. So I said, okay, what do we do? He goes, I convinced them to let you turn yourself in through me. And he goes, but if you want me to represent you, it's going to be at least $20,000. That's what I'm going to need up front. I said, you know what? I don't have that kind of money, but let me make a few phone calls. I called my dad and I bounced it off him what was going on. Dad goes, you know what? Because I got an open line of credit on the house. All I have to do is go to the bank, sign a couple papers, and they'll cut me a check right there. So Dad went to the bank, got the 20K. We went and paid the lawyer. Next day, we went to Illinois, Iroquois County, and I turned myself in, did the whole process of getting booked, had uh, paid my bail out of $25,000 bail, so Dad put $2,500 on his credit card. So here I am in right now, and all this $27,500. That is just for the lawyer and the bail. So the lawyer does what a lawyer does, and about a month and a half goes by. I don't have a court date, haven't heard anything. The lawyer calls me and says they agreed not to pursue charges. And I said, okay, then why'd they charge me in the first place? And he said, well, being a district attorney like that, it's elected official and they want to keep their job as long as possible. So, they do everything they can. And he goes, what you don't know is before anything goes to trial, plea agreements, anything like that, us lawyers, we get together with the prosecutor and we talk and we look at the evidence they have and we present our argument, trying to persuade them not to follow through with charges. And he goes, honestly, there was a strong enough case that he knew that with a good lawyer that he wouldn't get a conviction. So rather than look bad and waste the money, he decided to drop the charges. So that was all good and well. 4 months go by. I get a knock on the door. I answer the door. This guy there, I don't know who he is. He's like, is Jason home? I'm like, yeah. May I tell him who's here? And he goes, my name's Joe Blow from Kokomo. And I'm like, well, I'm Jason, and I don't know you. The guy kind of shoved me back a little bit with an envelope and said, you've been served, and runs off. So the guy I hit is actually suing me. So I call up this lawyer again, and I'm like, hey, this is what's going on. He goes, yeah, I can handle that, $10,000. And I'm like, well, there goes my bank account again. I don't have to borrow $5,000 to give you 10, but okay, we'll do it. Let you handle it. Gave him the $10,000. Court day comes. We spend 2 days in court. Judge dismisses the case that there's basically no lawsuit there. There's going to be no award. The guy attacked me and I was defending myself. So at this point, this has cost me $37,000. Now, for a 24-year-old, $37,500 in debt, to be exact, is a lot of money. So for years, I ran with this big liability, knowing that this might happen again and I might be in this situation again, spending a lot of money. And spending that money or the prospects of going to jail for defending yourself, if you have an overzealous prosecutor somewhere where you live or where you're traveling to or, whatever, the prospects of going to prison aren't good. That's a danger and a risk to your family, and the financial aspects is a danger and risk to your family. So for the last couple of years, I've been seeing videos on YouTube for a company called USCCA, United States Concealed Carry Association. And about 6 months ago, I got curious about them and started doing my due diligence research, and I decided to join them because that really helps close up that big gap that I see in people's preps that could be a major life-changing event for them. And if you don't know or never heard of them, what they do is they offer insurance along with training and a bunch of other stuff. Okay, so with the insurance, I've got $2 million annually liability if somebody sues me because I defended myself and they were hurt or killed and anything like that. I got $100,000 so I can have a bail up to $1 million. That'll cover the 10% of the bail bonds. I've got unlimited legal defense money available, and same way for expert witnesses and investigators and everything else. And I also have included in the insurance $20,000 for incidentals, like something happens at my house and it's a crime scene and I have to stay in a hotel for a few days, or crime scene cleanup, anything like that. That's covered. Also per day per diem if I'm out of work and have to be in court, that covers that loss of incomes. I get to pick my own attorney or go with attorneys that they have contracts with to do this, and this is all paid up front, so nothing's out of pocket. It's nothing that I pay for and then they reimburse me. They're taking care of everything at that point. And I thought one of the neat things is with that $20,000 incidental expense, if you're involved in a self-defense, let's say a self-defense shooting, your gun will get taken as evidence until they decide whether or not to charge you. You actually have that there to replace your firearm, so you're not left without means of protection. So I looked at them and I looked at other companies, and they had the best benefits, and the price was within, $20, $15, of what other companies charge, but they had the best benefits and the best all around uh, programs that the other companies didn't offer, like training and stuff. So I went with them. Now, I'm not telling you to join USCCA or any other company that offers this self-defense insurance or anything like that. I'm telling you this is something you need to think about and do what's best for you to close that hole, because right now you've got a hole this big and there's a chance that water's going to come rushing in and you're going to sink quicker than the Titanic. And if you close that hole, you're going to start minimizing the amount of money that you're going to hemorrhage defending yourself, because not every jurisdiction is self-defense friendly. I mean, I live in a state that is very self-defense friendly and very pro-gun, but there's still small pockets of the state that have overzealous prosecutors that think the cops should handle everything and that you shouldn't do anything to keep yourself safe. And this is actually like the case in New York City now. I mean, that's one place I definitely wouldn't want to be. You defend yourself, you're getting arrested and going to prison, because criminals have more rights up in New York City than the honest person has. So I am going to put my link for the USCCA down in the description. If you decide to join and use my link, thanks. You made a right choice. If you know of another way, or there's a way that's better for you to help minimize the losses and keep yourself and your family protected, please, if you haven't done so already, do it. Things are getting bad. And let me know what your ideas are in the comments that could close and minimize any potential risks like I had to deal with that you have. And let's keep an open discussion on this, not just for me and not just for you, but for everybody that watches the channel and watches this video. And that's the whole thing, to discuss ideas and share knowledge and try and keep us all protected. With that being said, I'm going to wrap up this video. I will talk to you guys later. Stay safe and take care of yourself.